Hello people, welcome back to The Struggle, where we dive deep into the most effective ideas, theories, stories and strategies for overcoming life's challenges. To struggle is to make forceful efforts to break free from restriction, and together we'll figure out how you're restricted and explore how you can struggle to break free, find meaning and grow through whatever adversity you're facing. This is episode 53, and what if I told you that the very thing you're running from, the thing you've been distracting yourself from, numbing yourself to, is actually the key to living a full, meaningful life? Pain, dissatisfaction, anxiety, and the need for more are not glitches in the system. They're features built into us. And yet, we spend our lives trying to escape them through social media, productivity, endless self-improvement, or just mindless distractions. But what if, instead of running, we stopped? What if we looked up? What if we accepted life exactly as it is? That's what we're exploring today. This episode is going to challenge the way you see your struggles, your emotions, and your habits. It's going to expose the hidden forces keeping you in a cycle of distraction. And by the end, you might just realize that the thing you've been avoiding is actually the doorway to freedom. But before we get into that, this episode is brought to you by the Struggle newsletter. This is a fortnightly newsletter that complements the podcast nicely, in which I send out every other Sunday a short article concerning the art of embracing struggle. We are all restricted in some way, and we could all do with struggling to break free from whatever restricts us. The struggle is different for everyone, but I can assure you the Struggle newsletter and this podcast will help you discover what it is that is restricting you and how you can best struggle to break free from that restriction. If you're finding it difficult to be more productive, to be healthy, to achieve your goals, perhaps you're chasing the wrong thing. Because a lot of us believe that we should be aiming for happiness, but this is an unwise pursuit because happiness comes and goes without any control from us. However, there is a way to be more fulfilled with life, and that is to embrace the struggle. Maybe it's exercising for you, maybe it's being healthy, maybe it's having uncomfortable conversations, maybe it's taking a career risk, maybe it's discovering who you are, paying attention to your feelings, or to be autonomous. And that's why I created a newsletter, to help you discover where you could be struggling more and where you could become more fulfilled. Along with the article, I also provide tips, strategies, and recommendations such as podcasts, movies, music, and recipes to help along the way. So to sign up completely for free, go to gregorthomson.com, the link will be in the show notes, confirm your subscription, and then check your spam folder for your welcome newsletter, and then add me to your contacts to continue to receive it in your inbox for free. And that's it. You're on your way to productively struggling more and being more healthy, motivated, and fulfilled. Now, let's get on with the struggle. There are few necessities in life. A necessity is a fact or state that is unavoidable. And one aspect of life that is unavoidable, one necessity of life, is pain. Pain is a necessity because without it we would not have its opposite, pleasure. We wouldn't recognize joy without heartache. We wouldn't know what is meaningful if what we found meaningful was never under threat or lost from time to time. We wouldn't be grateful without loss. And this brings me to another necessity of life: reaction. Newton's third law states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. In a similar way, the binaries of life, pain and pleasure, love and loss, happiness and sadness, are unavoidable and necessary. If we truly want to experience life, we must accept and embrace these binaries rather than resisting them. As I've said plenty of times over the last 52 episodes of The Struggle, the modern world is not designed to help you experience life fully. It's not designed to help you feel your emotions and accept them. Instead, it is rife with distractions. Social media, video games, television, movies, the news, pornography, productivity hacks, YouTube videos, and even some motivational content are all aimed at keeping you engaged and keeping you from feeling content. Social media companies thrive on engagement. The more eyes they get glued to their networks, the more money they make. So why in the hell would they want you to feel content? Why would they want you to experience and accept your emotions as they are? If they made you feel at ease, you wouldn't use their platforms nearly as much. Instead, they design their algorithms to keep you scrolling, to keep you locked in, and to keep you dissatisfied. They drip feed you emotionally charged content, incredibly personalized stimuli, and motivational content that subtly reinforces a feeling of not being enough. Now, I've certainly been guilty of producing motivational content that plays into this cycle, but at the very least, I'm admitting it now, and at the very least, my videos show me actively trying to become a more fulfilled person. They're literally me brainstorming ideas for a better life. Sometimes I'll get that wrong. Sometimes I will refine my ideas as I go. More often than not, I discuss ideas that I myself need to listen to. But let's take a step back for a second. The feeling of discontent is ancient. It's evolutionary. This adaptive dissatisfaction is what kept early humans alive. It drove us to explore, to migrate, to hunt, to seek shelter and water. But today, in a world where the lucky amongst us have food, water, and safety, that same ancient discontent now works against us. Social media, advertisements, and entertainment companies exploit this ancient survival mechanism. They show you products you need, people who look better than you, the worst news of the world, because all of these things are designed to keep you hooked on dissatisfaction. And the result is an addiction to distraction. We like to look at drug addicts, alcoholics, and gambling addicts as junkies. They're the other. They're people who made bad choices. But in reality, we're all addicts to an extent. We all use compulsively. We all distract ourselves compulsively from our emotions, from our suffering, from reality itself. And it's not entirely our fault. What chance do we have against multi-billion-dollar companies whose entire existence is built around keeping us distracted? But being distracted is not inevitable. Being distracted, unfulfilled, and caught in a cycle of compulsive consumption is not a necessity of life. It is a choice. A hard choice, but a choice nonetheless. Pain, suffering, chaos, and heartache are necessities. They will crop up throughout your life. But how we respond, whether we distract ourselves or embrace our emotions, is up to us. Now, I do want to avoid giving you another strategy, another life hack, another practice to fix this, because honestly, that would just be more of the same. And honestly, there's nothing that can actually fix the internal. So instead, I invite you to try something simple. Catch yourself. At random moments in the day, while scrolling social media, while chasing after something you think will fulfill you, just look up and acknowledge this is life. Whatever you're feeling, whether it's boredom, anxiety, sadness, joy, contentment, accept it. Not as a productivity trick, not as a life hack, just accept it. This isn't a practice. Ever since I started acknowledging that nothing external will fix the internal, life has become lighter. Money can make life easier. A healthy body can make life better. Achieving goals can feel satisfying. But it won't solve everything. If we could just accept that this is life now, that this is how I experience the world from behind my eyes, we might all be in a more peaceful, self-compassionate place. Some days you'll feel depressed, anxious, or numb. Other days you'll feel energized, happy, grateful, or fulfilled. Your internal state will change constantly. But if you can accept that instead of distracting yourself from it, it's incredibly freeing. So I encourage you, catch yourself when you're deep in distraction, when you're chasing material things, scrolling endlessly, or obsessing over productivity. Just look up and acknowledge, this is it. This is life, and I accept it. It's not something you need to distract yourself from. It won't spike your dopamine. You won't feel strongly. It's not. This feeling isn't to be compared to the feeling of achieving something external. The feeling of crossing the finish line after a marathon it spikes your emotions and it spikes your dopamine and you feel very strongly. But this realization that this is life isn't like that. It's just nothing. Nothing happens. It's fine. Your life can certainly get better externally. You can make more money, you can buy more things, you can have more freedom. But in the end, your internal dialogue, the experience you have from behind your eyes stays the same. You're going to feel anxious and depressed and hurt, and you're going to feel joy and contentment throughout your life, regardless of what externalities you have, regardless of what your external life looks like. You're going to feel all of these emotions, and the sooner you accept that, the more you can view yourself from a compassionate state, and the more fulfilled you'll be, and the less reliant you'll be on externalities. Perhaps life isn't so terrible that it needs to be ignored or escaped from. I understand that life can be terrible, and I understand that externalities can make life unbearable, and your internal state can make life unbearable. But running from your internal state will not solve any of these issues. Now, this is not an exercise. This isn't a life hack. It's not journaling. There's no self-improvement checklist here. It's just acceptance. It's as if we've been running for years from some great monster, only to realize that we were running from ourselves, and we're not that scary. And the sooner you stop running, the better, because we risk running our whole lives only to realize on our deathbeds that we were running from life itself. Now, there's a beautiful spoken word poem / story / song by Tyson Motsenbocker that captures this feeling perfectly, and it captures this mindset beautifully. And I'm going to read it for you now. In a different time, in a different place, there was a small boy in a boat, travelling down a river catching fish from the side, when he came upon two figures walking along the banks of the river. As he came close enough to make them out more clearly, he discovered that one was a tall man, and the other was a beautiful woman. "Hello," said the man. "Hello," said the woman. "Hello," said the boy. "My name is Death," said the man, "and this is my friend. Her name is Love." "It is a pleasure to meet you," said the boy. "Won't you come walk with us today?" asked Love. "For in this forest there are many beautiful and wonderful things we can show you." "Ah," said the boy, "it is a kind invitation. But I'm afraid that if I was to leave this boat and come walk with you, I would miss all of the fish that are yet to be caught in this river. And what greater joy is there to a boy than to pull the fish from a river?" And he continued on his way. Many years later, when the boy had grown to a man, he was walking through the forest carrying his tools for work. He came upon Death and Love walking in the opposite direction. "Hello," said the man. "Hello," said Death. "Hello," said Love. "Won't you come walk with us?" asked Love. "For it has been many years since we first met, and even on this road you walk every day of your life, there are many beautiful and wonderful things we can show you." "Ah," said the man, "it is a kind invitation. But I'm not as naive as I was when we first met. I know now that if I was to walk with you and turn to speak with Love, I will have left my back towards Death, and his dangers have become famous to me. And if I was to turn and speak with Death, I will have left my back to Love, and even the most beautiful flower in the forest will look broken and decayed. Besides," said the man, "I have much work to do." And he continued on his way. And many years later, when the man had grown old and his beard was long and white and his face looked like a map of the mountains, Death came to visit him. "Hello," said the man. "Hello," said Death. "All of these years I've looked to find her alone," said the man. "But whenever I came near, I found that you were there also." "Ah," said Death, sitting down beside the man. "That was your mistake. For wherever Love is, I am close behind. She displays my power and my poetry and even my beauty. When I am nearby, love's face shines brighter, the colours of the earth burn truer, and time itself speeds. I have always avoided her to be clear of you, said the man. And I too have made a mistake, said Death, rising to his feet, by never telling you that I always come alone in the end. Jean-Paul Sartre wrote in his novel The Age of Reason, I have led a toothless life. A toothless life. I've never bitten into anything. I was waiting. I was reserving myself for later on, and I've just noticed that my teeth have gone. By waiting for a life that never comes, we risk never feeling life at all. We risk never feeling love at all. We risk never experiencing the beauty and the heartache of life that love offers to the man. By avoiding death, we avoid love. Love for ourselves and love for life, all of life, the full spectrum of experience. When we turn our back on death, on pain, on suffering, on our finitude, we risk never experiencing life. We risk never looking up and being okay with death, with pain, with suffering, and with our finitude. If we continually distract ourselves from life, if we continually distract ourselves from death, if we continually distract ourselves from our own mortality, which is what we're doing when we're staying busy and when we're watching television and when we're scrolling social media, we're really avoiding our own finitude. That comes from Oliver Burkeman, that idea that busyness is just avoiding our finitude. If we continually decline death's kind invitation and instead work or distract ourselves from the necessities of life, we won't experience the full binaries of life in all of their beauty. Accepting the invitation, looking up from our phones, looking up from our work, and getting off the treadmill once in a while to just look out over life from anxious eyes, depressed eyes, joyful eyes, content eyes, or suffering eyes will bring internal love to our lives. Accepting death is accepting life. Look up. Hi guys, just a few more things before you take off. Firstly, thank you so much for watching. It genuinely means a lot to see people watching and liking the content. Second, if you're enjoying the content, please subscribe to the channel. That's the best way you can support the podcast. As you can probably tell, I don't have a team behind me helping with recording or editing the podcast, and I certainly don't have a lot of fancy equipment, so any help or support is greatly appreciated because it will help the podcast grow and get better. And finally, keep on struggling.